Let's look at one more example. This is the UI for our third example. At the top we have an add friend header, and we have a full name label, and then we have a text box where the user can type in the full name, and then we have a button over here. Once the user types in the full name into this box and clicks on this add button, we want to show an alert with the text "you are adding full name hyphen," and we want to show whatever the user has typed into this text box over here like this. For example, if the user has typed in Huckleberry Finn, we want to show the full name hyphen Huckleberry Finn. So we have a header, then we have a label, then we have a text box, and then we have a button. So let's implement this UI in JSX. I have selected the handling events folder, and I'm going to click on this new file icon over here, and I'm going to call this new component friendsalert.js. So this is going to be a function component. So friendsalert, curly braces, and we have to return some JSX. So let's write a return statement. At the top we have this add friend header. So let's implement that first. Let's specify an empty root tag and close that as well. And let's specify h2, and the text is add friend. And next we have this label full name followed by a text box. So let's implement that. We have a label and it says full name, and next we have to add a text box. Let's give it an ID of full name. So let me type that, and I'm going to close that. Let's add a HTML for prop, HTML for equals, and let's specify full name because that is the ID of our input text box. And let's specify a break tag, and then we have our add button over here. So let's specify our button and add. Let us export this function so that we can specify that within app.js. Export default friends alert, and let's go to app.js, and within app.js I'm going to comment out the previous lamp alert import statement and also the return statement. And this time in our return statement, let us specify a div with class name equals app, because as we have seen previously in app.css there is a class called app which we can use to center everything. So let's use that, and within this div let us specify friends alert. And even as I have typed this friends alert component here, VS Code has put in the corresponding import statement over here. So let's look at the output now. So we have implemented the UI that was specified in the wireframe, and now we have to get it to work. So let me specify Huckleberry Finn here. And what we want to happen is when this add button is clicked, we want to get hold of this value Huckleberry Finn from this text box here, and we want to show that within an alert. So the question is, how do we get hold of this value of Huckleberry Finn from this text box? The first thought that we could get is, why not use document.getElementById to get hold of this value? But React gives us other ways of achieving this. React gives us the onChange event for input text boxes. So we can write onChange, and we can specify an event handler. So let's specify handle full name change. And to this handle full name change, what React will do is it will pass in the synthetic event. Let's use E for that, and we can get a hold of the value of the text box by writing e.target.value. Now let us assign that to a variable. Let us declare a variable outside this event handler. So I'm going to declare a variable using let, and I'm going to say full name value, and I'm going to assign this full name value to this e.target.value like this. So now as the user types, onChange events will fire, and the event handler handle full name change will be triggered. Details of the event will be passed into this synthetic event E, and the value that the user has typed will be available within e.target.value, and this variable full name value will keep getting updated. To verify that, let us log full name value to the console. So I'm going to type console.log and full name value. Let's test this code now. I have the browser developer tools open, and I have the console tab selected. So I'm going to type something in this text box now. Please keep an eye on the messages that show up in this console. So I'm going to type Huckleberry Finn, and as you can see, as I was typing each letter, the value of the text box up to that point was being logged. And as you can see, I typed H first and that was logged. Then I typed U, so HU was logged. And then I typed C, and so HUC was logged, and so on and so forth. So as the value of the text box was changing, this onChange event was firing and this event handler code was being called. We were able to get hold of the current value of the text box using e.target.value, and we logged that to the console using this statement here. And that is why we have so many messages in the console over here. Now this variable full name value has the string that the user has typed in to the text box. So we can use this variable to show our alert message correctly. So let's do that. So now let us write code for this add buttons click event. So I'm going to write on click equals handle add, and let us define handle add over here. Const handle add equals, we are passed in the synthetic event, but we are not going to make use of it, so let's not specify that. And in our function body, let us write an alert statement, and in our alert statement we want to show you are adding full name hyphen followed by whatever the user has typed in. So you are adding, let us specify /n followed by full name hyphen and followed by whatever the user has typed in, which is in this variable over here. So let's use interpolation over here, $full name value. Let's test this code now. I'm going to type in Huckleberry Finn and I'm going to click on add now, and as you can see in the message it shows you are adding and it shows full name Huckleberry Finn. So let's examine this code one more time. In this example we have seen a new event called onChange for input fields, and we have seen that when we specify our event handler over here, handle full name change, which is defined over here, a synthetic event is passed into the event handler, and we can get hold of the value of the text box using e.target.value. And for the purposes of this example, we have kept updating this full name variable with the value e.target.value. So when the user finishes typing, this variable will have the final value because we have been updating it as the user was typing. And handle add is the event handler for the on click event, and within handle add we are using this full name value variable using string interpolation. All in all, we have used two events over here. One is onChange for the input text box and the other is the on click event for the button.